Colleagues, today marks the 50 years since our nation undertook a bipartisan national war on drugs. Democrats and Republicans, black people and white people, celebrated tough-on-crime policies. The modern drug war began with a symbolic address by President Richard Nixon on June 17, 1971. And this is what it's resulted in. Every 25 seconds, someone in America is arrested for drug possession. The number of Americans arrested for possession has tripled since 1980, reaching 1.3 million per year in 2015, 6 times the number of arrests for drug sales. 1/5 of the incarcerated population, or 456,000 individuals, is serving time for a drug charge. Another 1.15 million people are on probation and parole for drug-related offenses. Incarcerating people for drug-related offenses has been shown to have little impact on substance misuse rates. Instead, incarceration is linked with mortality from overdose. In the first 2 weeks after release from prison, individuals are almost 13 times more likely to die than the general population. The leading cause of death among recently released individuals is overdose. During that period, individuals are at 129% greater risk of dying from an overdose than the general public. Incarceration has a negligible impact or effect on public safety. Crime rates have trended downward since 1990, and research attributes 75 to 100% of these reductions to factors other than incarceration. Speaking from the White House, Nixon declared the federal government would now treat drug addiction as public enemy number one, suggesting substance use might be vanquished once and for all. He went on to say, in order to fight and defeat this enemy, Nixon said, it is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive. Let's put that in the context of Detroit. You saw policing tactics like stress, the Stop the Robberies, Enjoy Safe Streets. Movements move about all across the country. In 1971, that was the movement. It was an aggressive policing tactic to make being black, being a minority, being a hippie, or just being illegal and unacceptable in our communities. Here's what one of those inspectors said. He says, what is at stake here is whether we can effectively police the black community. He said that in October 18, 1971 in a Newsweek article. As a nation, we are doing a better job of grappling with this incredible tragedy. And it's leading by bipartisan efforts from Republicans and Democrats, from black people and white people, coming together to say, we messed up on this. And when I say we, I mean all of us, that we messed up on this and that we can do better. We spent tax dollars not on infrastructure, on higher ed, on healthcare, on schools, or seniors, so that Democratic and Republican elected officials could say we were tough on crime. It was wrong, and I'm glad I serve in a chamber where we, both Democrats and Republicans, have come together to address these historic problems. We have a long way to go to atone for these issues, but the beauty of our role here is we can fix it. The Clean Slate package we passed last term made a huge impact and showed we can move forward. But all of these changes came about because of the Black Lives Matter movement, and it came about from the militarization of police, which started with the war on drugs. As we talk about the Derek Chauvin trial, the only defense was George Floyd was a drug addict. When you saw the Breonna Taylor murder, it was, well, maybe there were drugs there. Her boyfriend was a drug dealer. It's criminalizing victims, but it all stems from the drug trade. And that's what we've got to address. We have got to end this war and move forward. It's no small part. All of our responsibility is to own it and to move forward. This is not something where it's valuable to point fingers or blame anybody. It is our opportunity and time to fix it. And we have seen Republican and Democrat, city and suburban, black, white, women, everyone have engaged to correct these problems. And that is a unique time. We live in a unique time and opportunity where we have all come together to recognize that what was happening was wrong. But make no mistake, it was purposeful. John Ehrlichman outlined in April Harper's Magazine cover story, the Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. And we have continued that motion, and we have got to stop. We have got to accept and understand that only we have an opportunity to fix this, and that we can do that right now with our policies. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask my remarks to be printed in the Journal.